No, it is a map that has a single ramp, so not necessary that we're going to see 4 gates coming out from these players. Ramp means force fields are useful, as opposed to, say, one of those really big chokes that you see on like Belshire Beach or Shadow Temple. Not Shadow Temple. Yeah, I can't think right now. Alright, so Slayer's Arthur spawning in the upper left-hand corner of the map as the red Protoss, and spawning in the southeast spawning point, we have our yellow Protoss Crane for you. He is up 2 games right now. He can take this game, and he's going to knock out Slayer's Arthur and take $100 home to do as he pleases with. So here we go, sending out that probe. He does plant the pylon in his own base. He doesn't mind playing a little bit safe to make sure that he's going to take this match. If I were him, I would just be an asshole. I would be a complete asshole and not even worry about it. I would just entirely cheese right off the bat. I would do it. I mean, there's no reason not to. If he's confident enough in his skills, then he feels like Arthur isn't playing as well as he could be, then sure, he can go towards a macro game, do more of those colossi wars that we just saw. But I really love those sorts of little mind games. And the fact that he is so kind of unpredictable means that Slayer's Arthur is going to be in a position where he doesn't want to cut corners like I was talking about last time. He's checked out over here. This is a common spot for a 2-gate. There's no really room over here for it, so common spot for proxies. He does scout it out. He doesn't see anything over there, and he's going to send that probe across the map. So Crane, meanwhile, sending out his own probe. These probes are going to high five. Are they? Are they going to high five? Nope, they're ignoring each other. They're not even talking to each other, doing their own jobs. Now, once again, these players should be mirroring themselves pretty much evenly. One player getting their gateway on 12, one player getting their gateway on 13. And Arthur scouts in, sees 1 gas down. Now, I was talking about it earlier, and I think I'm going to bring it up again. I think it's worth bringing up. Sometimes you'll see that one player really just wants to be the more responsive player, and the other player likes to just take control of the entire game and say, I'm going to go with whatever build I want, and I'm going to force you to really, build towards my build. So being that responsive sort of player is very, very safe because as long as you have a probe in your opponent's base, being able to see everything in their base means that you have the opportunity to know when they're going to move out. You know all the timings that they're able to hit. And I mentioned that MC likes to be that responsive player a lot of times. In this particular game, it looks like both players are just kind of mirroring each other all together. Neither player really wants to commit to anything super weird. They just want to play super safe. You see that Arthur does have his probe hidden in his opponent's base, and if he is able to get a pylon down, that would be pretty awesome. Crane sending his out. He checks, but he doesn't check this far corner. He only checks this little corner over here. That's exactly what he doesn't need. Stalker's just getting sent out immediately to search around. Nothing of being sent over here. If Arthur puts down a pylon, I would be so impressed with him. I mean, it would be even cool if he threw down a pylon and then built some shit in here to protect the pylon. But that's not likely to happen. Arthur now, not even mining off this gas, he has thrown down his 4 gates. He knows exactly where he's going. His unit hasn't gotten spotted yet. Is this probe going to come up here? It does. It does get spotted. Stalkers need to rush back to try to kill that thing. If that thing goes down, then this aggression isn't going to be able to happen. Arthur actually completely supply blocked right now. He's been supply blocking himself all night. 1 pylon does go down. The question is, will anything out DPS? 2 pylons go down, 3 pylons go down, and 4 pylons go down. Will Crane be able to get them all? It doesn't look like he'll be able to. Is there going to be a warping over here? Those probes doing such a good job of taking down everything. Arthur does get a few of these stalkers into his opponent's base. He does get 1 zealot. That means he's going to be able to kill some probes. And he has denied a ton of mining time at this point, but he just doesn't have the power or the money to really be warping in that many more units at this point. He's completely supply blocked, which means that these 3 stalkers might need to get out of there, maybe do what damage they can. A beautiful force going down, locking these guys in here, but Crane for you at this point just doesn't have the unit to do anything. He's been out of mining time for so long that he can't warp in to defend against this. So Arthur in a very, very commanding position. That being said, His opponent now has the supply lead. Let's check out that worker count. He actually evened out the worker count. But now that these sentries, that's what they call them. Now that these sentries are out, he's going to be able to force field this ramp for a really long time, and with a fourth and a fifth one, force field that ramp indefinitely. The question is, yep, what I was going to ask was, does a counterattack come after that? We see Arthur going for that robo, and looking at how far away his opponent's units are, and having the sentry out. I mean, is he going to be able to delay long enough to get this robo building anything? It looks like Crane sends in a unit, gets the scout on these gateways, but doesn't seem to get the scout on this robo over here. Does Crane really want to push up this ramp without any high ground vision? I don't know if it's going to be possible, especially with this force field just awaiting him. And with this pylon over here, oh, Arthur, so good. I love it. So force field does go down. Now at this point, Arthur's going to be able to come from two sides. He's going to be able to send a couple units out there. Oh, why didn't he warp in another sentry? These units are going to be able to walk right up. Oh, he had enough energy for two force fields. The force field going down on the ramp, but that stalker is providing high ground vision. These sentries are going to need to get out of here. It looks like now they are defending, keeping his opponent from moving out. The thing is, he can warp onto the low ground over here and flank these units if he so chooses. And that'll actually be really easy to do because there's 0 DPS over here. We do have a pylon out, so if Crane would like to, he can warp in some units, but instead he's grabbing his own robotics facility to try to get an observer out and see on top of that high ground, and maybe if he can find a way to get a pylon down on over here, they'll be able to warp up onto the high ground without too much of an issue at all. And when that happens, that could be game. What I love about this behind this is that Slayer's Arthur has been teching his way off of this. He knows that he's stuck on one base, so he's going straight towards those Colossi wars. If I get the jump on these Colossi, I will be in a much, much better position. And that's exactly how it's reacting. Meanwhile, his opponent still has his robotics robotics support bay just now coming in. And these 4 sentries are going to be pretty much useless until they get back to their own base. There's nothing that they can do out here. Slayer's Arthur supply blocking himself. We've been seeing a lot of supply blocks today, like an unreasonable amount of them. For players that I know are such a high caliber, it's amazing. Which macro has been slipping. So with this push, the game could be decided. That counter push wasn't very, very effective, especially with that sentry out, clearing out half of the units of Crane For You, just splitting the army in half. That was really effective in holding off that particular battle. So here we go, first Colossi coming out for Crane For You, but he just doesn't have the time. This Colossi from Slayer's Arthur is going to be able to just kind of walk up and just destroy any force fields that come down, or he can just shoot from the low ground. Force fields have to run on. Back sentries are moving out of the way. Slayer's Arthur now moving up into his opponent's base. Crane For You completely supply blocked. There's nothing that he can do at this point. No warp-ins. And that first Colossus isn't even going to pop. Oh, he doesn't get the robotics support. The robotics bay in time. The Colossus pops out just before the bay goes down. There is only one Colossus out here for Arthur, and Crane does have the ability to warp in a couple more units. Oh, now he's supply blocked. That is probably going to spell disaster for Crane. Arthur's going to move on in. All probes are being pulled to try to deal whatever damage they can, but as it turns out, their little sickle beams are not damage dealers. Just one immortal out and a ton of stalkers. Is Crane turning this around right now? With more warp-ins, it's going to be a different story, but now with all those probes dead, Crane isn't going to be able to warp in all day the way his opponent might be able to. Even more probes coming out, and even if he holds this off, there are more warp-ins, and that's going to be it for Crane, who's going to have to GG. So now that's going to bring us to 2-1 in favor of Crane. Arthur trying to pull his way back into this. This is a best of 5, so if Arthur can win this next game, it's going to be a best of 1.